So, hello everyone. Let's kind of continue where I left last time, introducing the Blackboard thing, and then I'll talk about visualization today more than last time. So we went through the course information. Like I said, that's a lot of information in here. You can kind of go and read through it. Virtual lecture room, and all the fresh ones are going to be here. So everything like this is that we're recording right now is going to show up under the recordings in here. And also here I have the pre-recorded ones. So one for this week, and then they're kind of weekly based. So that's the first day of the week, Monday. That's you kind of see them here. So today, maybe go to about slide 16. So I'm not going to go any further. If I get there early, I'm going to take questions. I'm not sure if it'll happen, but we'll see. So basically, we're just covering first lecture all the way to about slide 16, which is here you get the PowerPoint a little bit faster to go through than the videos, whichever work for you. Anything that doesn't make sense, you can always go back to the recording and see if I clarify it there. Virtual lab, I think I was going fast last time, but it should work. So it is a virtual computer. If you ever need to use it this semester, I mean, for anything, just go ahead and use it. So it's a virtual desktop. Copy image on keyboard, I don't know. No, sure. So you see it's a Windows machine that's starting up. And then you have a few controls here: upload, download files, share screen. And while they do have a Tableau version, I don't think it works, hasn't worked for a while. Tableau is very tricky with their licenses, so this one is not updated. It will ask me for a license. As far as I know, that's the only one that doesn't work in there. All the other ones I tried, and I haven't tried all the programs they have installed. They didn't work. So if you want to use Tableau Public, which is free. You can download it. Or if you want to, you can apply for an academic thingy with them. That takes a little bit long time, but yeah, this won't work. I cannot activate it, so. I don't know. Let me see if I can get. So that one is the one that doesn't work, but then there's Power BI on it that we're going to use this semester. And then anything else you want to install, any piece of software, I kind of use it so I don't install it on my own computer. Something that
Will use Power BI.
If you want to. I'm not forcing anyone to use anything. So I'm saying it's there. That's the only thing that's it's already installed. Other things you could install on that machine. I don't know what the limitations are on it, but small programs are probably going to be fine. And let me see, I'll get out of it. Okay, so that's for you to work. The quizzes are right here. All of them are still visible, but they will start kind of every week. They will go away. So this one will go away on February 10th, right before class. And we'll cover this week and next week. And actually, I take that back. So let me go back here for a second. Since this, I kind of got confused here. Since this is a weekly basis, this is kind of what I want to cover today and Wednesday. So not only today, I might just do a few of them today just to get you started. Then homework discussion, I already posted the first one, still working on the others. I'll try and post them ahead. I don't want to be right there. But normally, so a few things about the homework. I already when I covered what's written in the syllabus. So first of all, it's peer-reviewed. The problem here is that on February 17 at 3:05 p.m., the ability to submit anything ends. And I don't know of a way to introduce anything else. So, because at the same time, probably the next whatever computer cycles it needs, so less than a second probably later after that, everybody already has their own things to review. So there's no way to put something in because there's nobody to assign it to. So once we hit this evaluation dates, I cannot make any changes. I'm not able to make any changes, even if I try to, or I don't know how to make them. One way or the other, it's the same, but I think I understand why. Because these have already been assigned to people. A new one doesn't have a place to go. So please, 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 please turn in something. Just I'll send an email and I'll, think of this as due on Sunday. So we have a little bit of time on Monday if something really goes wrong. But think of it as being due on Sunday, and that will save a lot of trouble. There's no way to put it back in there. Anything else I try, it will not let you. The other thing that happens, if you don't submit something, Blackboard will think you are not participating in here, so you're not going to be able to review anything as well. It's just, so I cannot change that either. Okay, so if I make any changes I need to make to this, like if something happens and I realize there won't be time, I probably have to do it before this time. Once this time hits, it won't let me make any more changes to it. So my hands are tied on this. Cannot do anything after that. And anything I try to do is going to be a kind of not going to give you all the points. You're going to lose points for no good reason. So that's homework one. And the other thing about homework, about a week before the due date, I'll talk more about it. So probably in about 2 weeks, I'll talk more about that. Not necessarily today. So about February 10th. So give you a week to work on and be fresh in your memory. So that's kind of what it is. You can still look at it and kind of get it started, but don't. And you can always change your mind. So this tool allows you to replace what you put in there. You can always take it back and put something else in. So as long as you have something, put it in just to make sure you catch it. If you want to work on it some more, work on it and then replace it. But try and be, and that's where a lot of points get lost, unfortunately, on that. Please, please, please. And I cannot control it. It's just, we had long discussions. What if we change something or in the end, once it's really not that date, but it's when this hits, it's the end of that. So that's kind of all I have for homework. Kind of very important thing is catch those, and then I'll talk about this particular homework in about 2 weeks, once we get closer. Project, I may want to talk about the project today, and I will talk about the project today. So here is kind of the general thing for the project. And why do I want to talk today? Because by next Wednesday, I want to kind of have if you have a preference for a team, for somebody to be in with your group. So I'm making a group because of the size of class is reasonably small. It's only going to be 2 people per group. It says here, somewhere in here. I selected too many things. But the project, we're going to keep working on it as we go through the semester. The project is not a contract. So if you propose something, you can change your mind all the way until 1 minute before you submit your final version in May. So you can always change it. And, I do assume that there'll be changes for everyone, unless you're completely lucky or you're working with a genius in your group, or you are a genius, then you might get it without you might know it from now until the end. But I figure there will be changes as we go. I do expect that. So that's kind of for the project. That's something I'll post it out. So that I would need if you don't have any preference and you haven't emailed me yet this semester, at least email me and say, tell me no preference. On the project thing here, I have this unsupervised student discussion. I'm not checking it, but if you want to find somebody you would want to work on, again, I'm just making it up. If you're interested in expression of, papillomavirus genes, and you want see if somebody in that happens to be interested in that, that would be one way to put it there. I left it like that. The other thing that reminds me, I took away the Blackboard email. You kind of look through my course shell, you won't be able to see it, but you can still get to it. There are ways. I think you can use this. You may be able to use, but that would be more annoying to kind of send an email to everyone to the same result. If you're using Blackboard email to communicate with me, no, that'll probably, the notifications don't, that's why reason it's kind of clunkier than regular email in terms of everything, including attachments. Notifications are not that great, so I might not be able to see it as fast as the normal email. So what I'm saying, please don't use it, but
Do you prefer we just send you a regular email?
the regular email works best then. I mean, the Google Suite is pretty good that the university has, so rather than the Blackboard one. But here, if you want to talk to other people, try and find somebody, that would be a good way. I put it there just for that reason. If not, I'll assign people randomly into groups. So that's kind of what's the first thing. There are no points for it, but after that, we're going to kind of do the proposal, and I'm going to kind of have it roll. So might not even, yeah. So you can see here kind of the schedule. So whoever, and I'm going to roll the dice on who's going to be team A and B. So after I even have the teams, I'll assign the letters randomly. But, as we go on, we're kind of, I get the proposals from teams A and B on the 17th, then we're going to discuss them in class. And then team C and D can get something from it, and E and F, everybody who comes in later. Yes, you're a little bit later, but you already heard my comments about the project in general. So I think that you kind of get it. And this way I don't have, I kind of hate to have everything all at once. So we spend a whole week doing the same thing. I'd rather have it kind of spread out, just like the article presentations. So the other thing about the project, as far as kind of points are concerned, these two things are completion grades. So as long as you turn in something by the deadline, you get all the points in there. The more I know, the more I can help you, but for the most part is a completion grade if you do that. So I'm not using my critique or anything on that. I'm just trying to help. I'm trying to kind of create a little bit. Yes, John, go ahead before you lose your thought.
Is the demonstration of visual tools, is that individual or is that as a group?
That's individual.
Okay.
Okay, so what I like with the project is kind of get feedback, but especially with the online people, it's kind of hard to get feedback. So I kind of try to put it in there. The next thing I'm going to talk about when I'm done with the project, which may be a few more minutes, I'll talk about that demonstration of visualization tools, because that's kind of the next thing here. And you'll see the difference there. But what I want is proposal, and then we can talk about your proposal. You can make changes as you want to. Like I said, all the way, it's not a contract. I'm not holding it to it. All I want is kind of help, give you my input, and then tell you where you are. Now, of course, I have some requirements about the project. I'll talk about them in a second, but first, that's So that's the first kind of interactive thing. It's not quite interactive because it's going to be based on a video you submit, and then I'm going to play it in class and then give you my feedback in class to that for that particular team. You can get it there. Kind of try to make it asynchronous. This one, what I would like for project report, I would like to have it synchronous as much as we can. Now, 9U1 section students, let me know on that. I already kind of specified that. Let me know if that it becomes a problem for anyone. I'll try to accommodate as much as we can all the way to asynchronous, but asynchronous works a little bit weird. They're kind of trying to understand what I mean when you can kind of interrupt me for 3 seconds instead of trying to read an email or do something like that. So I'd like to have this another chance to kind of see what you're doing. You're going in the right direction. And then the final thing is where I kind of use my judgment and make sure you satisfy the requirements I put in there. And in terms of requirements, I kind of look for these 6 things. Like, I want you to talk about theory, kind of going back to all the slides. Again, this happened at the end of the semester when you do that. But how did you apply that? Where did you apply it in your project? Where did you break it? I want to know if you kind of went against something. That's fine. You should have a good reason to do it. If you have and explain it why. But at least I don't want to happen by accident. I'd like it to be a more of a conscious thing. You understand some things about how the visualization could work, and you understand that in this case it's not the best choice, and you have to go do something a little bit out of the ordinary, and that's perfectly fine. That's where creativity goes in. The other thing I want every team to do is try different things. This is me attempting to again, creativity, you coming up with something completely new the first time. Even if you're lucky like that, I still want you to try other things. So I want you to try a number of solutions and then pick the one that works the best. So there are points for that. Here are all the solutions we tried. And then you tell me why you got rid of some. Give me a little bit of a reason why we went with this is our final product rather than all these other alternatives that we tried. So I want you to try a few things as we go, a few different solutions. And you see during the semester, I'll kind of point out more. You can look at the data, the same data, you can look at it in different formats. And there's different visualization techniques for those. So try it like that. Try different tools, see which one gives you more of what you want or a better solution. But I want you to try more than one thing. So if you just show me your final thing, this is what we have, you're going to lose the point for alternatives. These two, the next two, I know some of you are not programmers. I know some of you are programmers. So for the same person, I'm probably going to give points for one or the other. But for a team, the team can, the 2 people in the team, one can deal with data processing more, collecting data, processing it, changing it. And other person may deal more with the coding part. And coding, it can even code the data itself. But so the difficulty to kind of get the project, if the data is already created for you, and all you do is just put it in an automated visualization tool, and that takes 20 minutes, 10 minutes, that's not going to be that great. I want you to kind of, again, and even for the alternatives, how much do we have to change to try different things? So that's where kind of it's coming in, kind of the difficulty. How difficult was it to get it? Some data, some data may be scattered all over the place, and you have to kind of pull it up and extract it. And, so all of that, you're going to have to show me, in your presentation that you've done it, and that was needed for the visualization. And then the task definition, that's probably, it's a soft thing. Oh, I have 2, it shouldn't be 2 semicolons there. But this is, a lot of times I will, that's my one banjo string there, task, task, task. So in real life, well, I don't know if in real life, but let's say somebody has a visualization that can solve everything. I don't want that. I want a very specific task to be solved, problem, or you can think of the task to be performed or a problem to be solved, but I want it to be specific. In other words, and I want you to know exactly what's going on. You can change it at any time. Again, you can change the task. You can change the data that you have, and you can change your visualization. Everything you work during the project, during semester counts because of the alternatives. So even if you made some changes and you have to drop a few things that you put effort in, it's still going to count. It's going to become your alternative at that point. But at the end of the day, I'm thinking of it as a three-legged stool. One is the visualization, what you have. The other is the data that you have, because you need data. And the other is the definition. How do you define your task that you're doing? And the task, maybe it's the softest thing, and maybe, but it's the most annoying thing to do. I know that. You can change this at any time. If you have a visualization that you like and you have the data that you want, then you can redo your task. But unfortunately, make sure it's not too simple or something very trivial. It's not going to be that great. But if you have a visualization that you're comfortable with, you have a task that you kind of like how it sounds, you may need more data for it. So you can go in and bring in more data and redo all of these three things. So it's iterative. You control all three all the way till the end of the semester. You can change all of these as we go forward. If you like the task and the data, but the visualization doesn't look good, try a different thing, and that becomes alternative. So, but everything you do should not keep track of it, have it at the end when you turn in everything. So I kind of see you've worked on it. So because I want this task to be really well defined, here is an example of a task that's not well defined. Trying to understand traffic in the United States. I can come up with, here's a visualization I can come up with. A red circle, a green circle, and a yellow circle, or amber. You understand something about traffic in the United States. We're using those colors, okay? So that is a very general. In general, if you end up using words like insight and understand, they tend to be too general. What am I understanding about the traffic? Are you really showing me everything I really want to know about traffic? Can I prove that there's aliens driving, and I'm not mean illegal, just Martians driving in the United States through your visualization? So I'm being sarcastic then, but you can ask yourself the same questions. That's where I want the task to be very general, because if the task very well defined, sorry. If the task is general, anything you produce is good. You have no way of figuring out which one is better than the other. I have no way of figuring out which one is better than the other. So that's why I want for this class, even if you figure out the best visualization to work for a million things, I want you to focus on one and stick with that as much as you can. Okay, so that's the task definition, like I said, many times seems to, and then the final piece is, if you tell me what the task is, problem, however you want to think of it, that you're solving, have you given me the best visualization for that? I can see it in there. So that's the last piece of this whole thing. So first of all, I want to think about what we discussed in class: data types, the visualization types, principles, a technique that you've seen in one place and you want to maybe use it in yours. Have you tried more than one thing? Was it, I need some sort of difficulty. It can be just, I have everything wrapped up for me. I go and pull it out from the web, push it in this other thing, and I'm done. And the other thing is the task definition. And you're going to hear me a lot about the task. So one thing is, it can be too general. here are about two other things that come to mind that I don't like. The other would be it's a collection of 3 or 4 things that are not related to each other. So, for example, I can look at population driving, the make, how many, the gender, the gender of the population of the drivers in Houston. That's on one bullet point. The other bullet point would be, how many people drive in the rain in the mountains. And the third bullet point would be, what's the price of SUVs in the United States. So how these three link together. So all of these are not fairly, I can define them even better, but I need to see how they can glue together. What is a glue that puts all of these three? So I'd rather have one project, not 3 projects or 4 projects or 2 projects. And kind of they need to be glued together. And for this, I actually think I have a little bit of a I wonder if I show it now or later. I might as well. I spend all the time talking about it. I might show it later once we get closer. Well, let's show it now. Here are 3 things. Let me kind of pull them up on a different screen. Have them ready for show. And how do I get it to open here? Okay. That's 1. 2. And 3. Open. Okay. Now, I don't think this is the way it is. It's good enough for a project this semester, but it kind of to show the idea of a glue. How do I come up with something? So let's say this is a visualization that shows the the attitude of an airplane, nose up and down. It shows if it's banked or not. It shows the airspeed and the altitude, and then kind of direction is going on the magnetic heading and so forth. So that does a pretty good job at showing those things. So that's one bullet point right there. I can see what the airplane is doing in space, kind of its attitude. Is it facing up or down, left or right? Here is another one. Another bullet point would be I have all this information about the airplane engines. What are they doing, fuel, whatever information I have. Those two don't seem to be, I mean, it's about airplanes, but they don't, what problems can I solve with both of them? And the third one, put it here. The third one, it shows me kind of where the airplane is in relation to the airport. So where it is on Earth, rather than in space, in general space. Okay, so these are all going to be 3 points. Here is a problem. Here's how I can glue them together. Is this airplane that I'm looking at in danger? I want to of an imminent accident in the next 10 seconds. Okay, so for example, let's say I look here and I see the engines, one engine is off, the other is on fire, ready to be on fire. But if I look here, it says, oh, I'm at grad level and I'm on the airport. So it's not an imminent danger of killing anyone in the next 10 seconds. But the problem is the same. Can I solve it without these 3 things? No, because if I just look at the engine, it shows me, it's overheating. But I'm on the ground. I can turn it off and leave. So that's kind of one thing. Here also kind of telling me the airplane is going, very slow. But I can look here and see am I, in the mountains and I'm going really slow, am I something, or am I on the ground? Again, this will kind of help me to know if I'm on the ground or not. Or maybe this tells me the airplane is going really slow, but if I look here, I see the engine is revved up to the max. So I expect the airplane to start getting speed. So it's not going to go bad in the next second. On the other hand, I can look here and see the engines are off and the airplane is slow. And I'm not on an airport, so I'm in danger right now of stalling. So in order to solve this problem, that is the glue, basically. I have to have all these three things. I cannot solve it with just one or the other or the other. So that's kind of what I mean by having a glue for the project. Find that problem that would, and then you can do all these little things individually, because divide and conquer is good as long as you know what you're working for. And you can always change, because that's just English. It's how you define your problem. You can always change it as the semester goes. So that was kind of my 2 cents of trying to show you how I would glue these three displays that are, yes, they're about airplanes, but together to solve a problem. The other type of tasks here that I see, since we're still here, I told you about three. One is too general, the other is kind of just bullet points that are not linked to each other. And the third one is something that's really simple. And when I was in grad school, my project was how can I help somebody debug or understand what a program is doing? Programming, coding, help them with visualization. And the biggest problem I had is on a pen and paper is the best way to explain how an algorithm works and what a program is doing, rather than a visualization. So, and many times it's hard to beat pen and paper. In the project world, it's going to be really hard to beat a bar chart. If the answer to your thing is just a number or two or a bar chart, then it's probably too simple. That's kind of the problem that you're trying to do. And there's different versions of bar charts, but as long as it's really a bar chart, you put it there and we're solving it, then it's probably too simple of a problem right there. So that's kind of as we go through the semester, that's what I would like you to think. But the beginning, let's kind of get started in about 2 weeks or more, actually, almost 3 weeks from now. I'll have the first teams. But the first thing, let's make the teams by a week from. So let me know by Wednesday, February 5th. This way, by February 10th, I'll post it, and then people can get together with their team. If you don't know your teammate, and you can start working on it. So that's the project coming up. And you can see we're going to go through the entire semester working on it on and off. Towards the end of the semester, it's going to be a lot more, especially after this progress report, and maybe even before that. There won't be any more homework towards the end of the semester, so all your focus should be on the project at that point. So you're going to have about roughly a month, 3 to 4 weeks there to kind of have work on it. But we're going to keep thinking about it and making it alternatives during the entire semester. So instead of focusing at the end, we kind of keep on chugging along. So that's the project. The other two things the other thing that I need everyone, including undergraduate students, to do. Graduate students are going to do article presentation as well. So pretty much these are your deliverables this semester: quiz, homework, project, demonstration of visualization tools. That's for everyone, and then article presentations for graduate students. So the demonstration of visualization tools, I'm using it's an individual thing. I'm using the teams just so we can group people. I kind of worked out well in the past. This way everybody knows when they need to do it, and so that's the main thing. So for this, I would like to, if possible, and like I said, some teams may be dysfunctional. You can show me something else, but I would like to see where you are with your project. So pick, instead of having to come up with something out of the blue, and and this is a, that was February, this is March, so it's later. You should have started working on the project. Use something from the project that you've done. I don't want that's both people on the same team to do exactly the same thing. So if your team is functional, coordinate with your teammate, make sure you kind of show me slightly different things, because this is an individual assignment. It's just I'm using that so I don't get a lot of them at once. Again, spread them out. So we kind of go over. So this is a demonstration. You found something that's interesting. You want to show other people how to. It's more of a teaching moment. Here is how a demonstration. It's not a presentation necessarily. You can actually get away without having a PowerPoint altogether on this. It's more of a screenshot. You capture your screen and kind of show how to do something in a visualization tool that you ran into. So that's, and this way I learn something from you and everybody learns something. So I'll show these in class as we go through these. Like I said, ideally, I would see where your team is as well, so I won't get surprised. Wait until April for this, so it kind of gives me another window into it. But if that doesn't work, that doesn't work. So if you and your teammate are not, or maybe something happens in March and your teammate is not responsive, this way still can show something that you had to work, you must have worked on a homework at some point. Article presentations, I think we talked about it last time. That's another thing that I want maybe this week, and I'll send an email. So the team preferences you have until next week, but for this I would want your, and this is only for graduate people who register for 5345, not for undergraduate students who are taking it at undergraduate level. But I want to kind of preference for your presentation dates. Please send them to me, and I'll send them. This time I will send. I kind of waited a little bit, but probably tomorrow or today. Sometimes if I'm busy, it may wait until Wednesday. But I'll try to kind of send a weekly email, kind of say what needs to be done this week. And so I'll send that email. This week, send me, if you have no preference on your presentation dates, that's fine. If you know you don't want to do them, and in that email, I'll post them. Obviously, we don't meet, there's no class on spring break, so that's gone. And then we'll start a little bit later. So it'll be clearer. I kind of have time to spread them out. I think we're going to have pretty much one presentation every class period. There may be one class period with 2 people, but other than that, we can spread them out pretty well. So we don't spend too much time listening to article presentations, because one of them is fine, and then we may do an article presentation, a demonstration or 2, and look at the projects and kind of keep on going as the semester goes. So that's one thing we need to do this week. Also, make sure that you send me articles for approval. Oh, let me talk a little bit about articles. If you send me something to look at, please send me the PDF. 99% of times there should be a PDF. The reason is, first of all, I want to make sure you have access to the PDF. And don't pay for it. The other thing is, if you send me the PDF, I have it. So even if that PDF, let's say it's the publisher, Springer is the publisher. May Springer decide about a week from today that now you have to pay for that. So I still want to have that for this semester. So if I need to kind of look at that article, if you need to look, if somebody is interested, some other student, and ask me, I can forward it to them. So please do send me as much as possible the PDF. I'll kind of get back to you if you don't do that. It's not the end of the world, but I'll send. Can you send me the PDF? So I'm doing this in case I don't get a PDF, and then I'll look at it and kind of see if it's something that would be useful for the class. If it's something that's different, it's not exactly the same thing that's in this slides that I have, and it's not a, you know, it's a research article, so it needs to be peer reviewed ideally. So it's not something that was submitted directly. Oh, and for those, let me go here. I have some suggestions, but really Google Scholar is one good source. It will give you quite a lot. IEEE Explorer, ACM Digital Libraries, I kind of put them here. They have a lot of content on visualization. This visualization conference, you can kind of get their proceedings from IEEE Explorer. Almost any article in there is probably good, except if there's a survey that lists 5 articles and it kind of goes really fast through them. I've seen surveys that do a synthesis. It's more like it kind of goes to them and say, I looked at 20 articles and all have these common themes throughout them. So that's kind of a different type than just presenting, going through a bunch of them. This one this may change, but this journal, usually the 12 issue, but like I said, it may change, maybe the 11, maybe January every year. They do have it. Google Scholar, like I said, very good tool. And by the way, I'm a hoarder, so I never delete this stuff. These are going to be too old. They're way older than 3 years. I just left them there, FYI, if anybody's ever. But like I said, all of these are very technical, IEEE Explorer and ACM on computers in general, visualization, technical stuff. And there's a whole other world in the humanities nowadays are using a lot of visualization. So make sure you kind of, I try to put that, any article will do is send it to me. I'll try and figure out if it is a peer reviewed, and it can be just an opinion, somebody's opinion that did not get reviewed. I'm looking for a little bit of more precise language, a little bit more depth than just an opinion, or a manual, or a textbook. So that's not what I'm looking for. And the other thing that I have here for your help, and again, it's kind of a hoarder's thing that I never delete. There are different visualization toolkits that I ran into. And you can see there's probably hundreds more, maybe tens more that I don't have listed in here. But as I run into something interesting, I usually add them to here, and I never take them off. So you would figure out, for example, I think that this one is an old one. If it even works. So this Gobi, but this is old. It hasn't been updated. If you can probably get source code that will work in C, but something similar is called XGobi, and there's a bunch. Some Gobis are in R. If any of you want to work with R or worked in R, which is a statistic, it's like SAS, but it's freeware. They have a Gobi kind of port. It's not a port, they kind of change it completely, but it works in there. So, like I said, some of these are commercial, so they kind of are really good. And you don't get their source code. Some of them are university made, so you can get for some of them source code, but they may be crashing more often and so forth. So anything that works. Like I said last time, I'm not on the clicks on what you're using. It's how you're using it, more than that. more than anything. So I think that's about it. If I have few more things. If you submit anything, just submit the thing, not a link to it. So don't submit a link to a Google Doc that's under your control. I usually don't consider that because you can change it, you can delete it. I want to be able to access it 2 years from today. So if you have something like that, send me the actual thing rather than links in general. Submissions, I mean project or homework or anything like that. But that's, I think that's about it. So these are for your help. Maybe I should move a Porto in here as well. So these are kind of auxiliary tools. But if you need to search for research articles, go to those conferences and other visualization conferences or journals. Okay, so